Hey, it's Abdullah, and in this video I wanted to talk about the Nokia 8.3. So this isn't the full review of the 8.3, you can watch that in the link I'm going to be posting up above, but this is more of a long-term usage and the things that I've noticed after using this phone for about 3 months. So let's get straight into it. Before we do that, subscribing to the channel would be greatly appreciated, thank you. So let me start with the hardware of the 8.3. So the phone has managed to retain its solidness and it still feels as nice as the day I bought it. In terms of durability, the phone is also super durable. There are no scratches on the back glass at all, but on the display, unfortunately, some micro scratches have started appearing, and they only started appearing after I've taken the phone out and stacked screen on screen with other devices. So if you want to use this phone, I would recommend getting a screen protector because I guess these micro scratches are unavoidable, sadly. I also managed to somehow drop this phone twice in water. So the first time I just picked it up and it worked perfectly fine with no issues whatsoever. The second time the phone died for about a day and a half. So I had to put it in rice, but eventually it did end up working just fine with no issues. So I guess even though this phone doesn't have an official IP rating, it will be able to protect itself against some water damage to some extent, but it would still obviously be much better to try and avoid getting it wet. An issue I've noticed is that the proximity sensor with the adaptive brightness seems to be a bit too finicky. So it's a bit too quick to enable sunlight readability mode when there is a bit of sun reflecting on the display. So that can get pretty annoying. Something else I wanted to talk about is the battery life. So since 5G is a lot more widely available now in Dubai and the UAE specifically, I've noticed that the battery life on this phone has actually tripped quite a bit compared to when I was mainly using 4G because 5G wasn't readily available. So this phone went down from about 2 days, almost 2 days of usage to just a 1 full day of usage phone when it comes to the battery life. So at the end of the day, I'm ending up with about 20% battery life left after about 5 hours of screen on time, and most of my usage is outdoors, so I'm heavily relying on 4G and 5G, and I'm using hotspot quite a bit. Speaking of 5G, I did notice a specific issue on this device where sometimes when I go down the lift and then back up or just outside of the house, the phone would disconnect from the 4G and 5G networks, and then it just wouldn't automatically reconnect quickly. So I end up having to turn on airplane mode and then turning it back off, and then the phone would function normally. So this is definitely a software issue and it happened to me quite a few times. As for Wi-Fi, honestly, out of all the phones that I've used, I think this probably has the best Wi-Fi signal. So I have a spot in my house where almost all phones struggle to keep a Wi-Fi signal, and this is probably the only phone that always reliably keeps a Wi-Fi signal, so that's quite good. As for the camera, I've found it to be very good and reliable throughout my whole usage. Pictures ended up being really good most of the time. They released an update that also slightly improved the camera algorithms. So I'm just overall quite happy with the picture taking experience from the main and ultra-wide cameras. As for the video, while I really like some of the features that they've added in cinema mode, I still think that they can do a much better job when it comes to how well this phone handles low-light videos. So the low-light videos end up with a bit too much noise for my liking. So most of the time when I'm in low-light situations, I actually use open camera, which fixes these low-light video issues that I have. As for performance, even though this phone has a Snapdragon 765G processor, which isn't top of the class, top of the range, its performance is honestly just as good as a flagship when it comes to day-to-day tasks. And it also manages to stay quick throughout my usage. Even 3 months later, the phone feels as fast as new, and this is something that I like, and it means that this phone will probably have good longevity. It's only when you're playing games or opening games that you notice that this isn't the Snapdragon 8 series processor. As for the software, it's been mostly robust for me. I've barely had any performance issues or rebooting issues or anything like that, and the phone remains smooth throughout my usage. I, funny enough, wanted to complain about the lack of Android 11 update, but on the day of recording this video, I just received the Android 11 update. I still haven't tested it out thoroughly to make sure that there are no bugs, but it's good to know that it got an update, and I think if there are any issues in the future, they will be fixed. Just FYI, with my usage, I'm using the Microsoft launcher instead of the default Android One HND Nokia mobile quick step launcher, so do keep that in mind. So my verdict after using this phone for 3 months is that it is a solid buy, especially now where the price has dropped significantly. So you can pick this phone up for less than $400 in a lot of markets these days, and for that price and the build quality and the camera and the overall experience, I would highly recommend checking this phone out. I guess being patient with a device like this is probably one of the best things you can do, because if you pick it up for the price that it's being sold at the moment, you'll definitely get a good deal and a good phone for your money. So these are my thoughts after 3 months plus of usage. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this device, and if you own it, what's your experience been like? Have you faced any issues? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. That's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. That's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.